Hello everybody and welcome to NBL Overtime. The busy off-season continues. Of course, we're hearing lots of rumours and innuendo, and we're going to get a definitive answer on something today because we were promised something 7 days ago. I'm Cameron Luke. Get involved anytime you want. Hashtag NBL Overtime, hashtag NBL 20 as we head towards a new season. And Liam Santamaria, welcome to you.
Thanks, mate. Good to be back.
Corey.
How you going?
I'm well, mate. How you doing? You well?
I am fantastic. Living a dream.
Josh Boone, of course, a wonderful article written by our man during the course of the week, so we'll get to that. We're going to talk about one NBL player who is still contracted to play in the league, but will be heading towards the NBA draft after some workouts this week in the big man Froling, and also in Bowen, who is already over there and we don't expect back. So we'll get to that and plenty more very shortly, but we're going to start with Sean Long, because he tweeted a couple of weeks ago that he will be at Melbourne United. That hasn't quite panned out officially yet. And you told us this time last week after he slid into your DMs, definitively we'll know something today. So?
Well, the update with Sean Long and Melbourne United is there is no update. There's an offer there, and they're in talks.
Okay.
You know, I don't know. I'm not going to say too much yet because, you know, last time something was said too much, it had to be retracted. So I'm going to play the Liam Santamaria role.
Oh, here we go.
Uh-oh.
I'm just going to chill.
No. Liam Santamaria would break this story.
No, he once he knows it's concrete. But, you know, basically, long story short, you know, they're still ironing out some things. And next week this time, I have some.
So from your belief, is there an offer? There's an offer to Sean Long, but they're still toing and froing on certain
There we
details.
go, exactly.
All right. What are you hearing?
I'm hearing that maybe it's not as kind of likely at Melbourne United as perhaps it was when Sean first spoke up or even a week ago or things like that. I'm hearing Sean Long and his representatives are putting him out there to not just Melbourne United now, to saying, all right, well, Sean may have said this, but in fact, he is available.
I have a theory on this. Do you want to hear it?
I want to hear it.
Okay, so he obviously in discussions with Melbourne United, which I don't think seems to be a secret. And then he went ahead and tweeted that, probably on his own volition, but maybe under the advice of his management, for the exact reason that when you see it written and you're another club who might be interested in having Sean Long, All NBL second team last year, when it's not official, it may force your hand or give you an opportunity to allow it sink in for 48, 72 hours without an official signing. Think, hang on a second. He's still available, and the thought of him going to Melbourne scares us, in particular with Mello Trimble and what they could do, and Golding and McCarron. And then another club, who he may have already been in discussions with, might come in over the top and go, hey, we're still alive here, let's have one last Hail Mary. Because that's, from the outside looking in, I'm not sure if he's played it correctly, because it has been kind of messy for both Sean Long and Melbourne United in some aspects. But if he's still being, or in discussions, or being shopped around to other teams, naturally, it would probably force the price up a little bit, because when we all heard the fact that Sean Long might end up at Melbourne United, it did excite us as either United fans or as neutral sports fans or basketball fans that this is something could work. So it could force the hand.
I don't think that's what's happened.
You don't think so?
I don't think it was a premeditated thing, because it hasn't been a good look. It hasn't been a good look for Sean Long, this situation, because it's got messy. And, I mean, he's an uber-talented player. He's an NBA-level player. But why is he not in the NBA? That's the question. Why is a guy like that young, that talented, not in the NBA? And the answer is there are questions about maturity around him within the basketball circles at that level. So this sort of thing doesn't help that. So if you're representing him, you're his agent, you're saying, hey, whoa, keep your powder dry. Let's work this out at a super professional level so that it doesn't look like what it looks like right now.
Organically, he might end up getting more money from someone else as well, although I do see your point. Although I have said this from the start around Sean Long, I think he's undersized for his position in the NBA, and that's why I think, I'm not saying he isn't an opportunity to play more time in the NBA, but when you see a player like that and his skill set, you translate it to the NBA court, I think he's undersized. What do you, what do you think?
This is what I believe.
Now, he's going to the Summer League.
I don't think he's going to the Summer League.
He's not?
No.
That was our belief a month ago. Is that fair to say?
He's been in China. Is he still in China? He's been in China playing in their off-season league.
Here's just what I'm going to say, right? As talented as he is, if you're going to tell me you were going to sign this guy, obviously you were going to sign him for him to come out and tweet that. You're not going to sign him now because he tweeted something early? Come on, man. This is not AAU.
But Liam's not suggesting that's going to hurt his NBL.
I'm not saying to either or. I'm just saying in general that, like, what's Melbourne United hesitating on?
I don't know.
You were going to sign him. Clearly, he's not. No player is going to come out and just say, all right, I'm just going to tell you guys now, I'm going to sign with Melbourne United. If he was not. Did he pull the trigger too quick? Yes.
Where do you think he's going to play next year?
Melbourne United.
You think he'll be
If
Melbourne
not,
United?
he's going to Europe.
Okay. On that note, let's move on to our next point because, of course, it upsets Liam Sandemar and I, but Corey Homicide Williams does a podcast without us. But, of course, it's with two very close friends of NBL Overtime and Mark Worthington and Felix Von Hoff. But you made some interesting comments around the Adelaide point guard situation for next year, of course. And you have a lot of people sliding into your DMs, and here's yet another one. You've got a point guard from Chicago, so he's tough as houses. I think it might have been the phrase you use. And if he does sign in Adelaide, what can you tell us about this?
I think if this guy signs in Adelaide, it will be serious. He still has game. He had a really good career in the NBA. Might be about 2 years out of the league, 2-3 years out of the NBA. And he has some serious game. I'll tell you that right now. Look, we all know Joey Wright is going to bounce back.
No doubt. So what?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
look, it's not really that difficult to find a dynamic guard from America that can hoop.
Who is it?
That's what he does. I can't say any names because I'm not making it hot for nobody.
If I say his name
Yeah, I like this.
in a group of names,
Yep.
I'll say he's one of them.
Jeremy Pargo, DeAndre Liggins, Mike Taylor, Will Bynum.
It's definitely one of those names.
Yes, sir.
Now, there is
Definitely one of those names.
Now,
And they are all
NBL
bulls.
podcast.
Let me
the
tell
guys
you.
in Adelaide putting it. I'm thinking it's Will Bynum.
Listen.
Now,
it's
I think
Let
it's
me
Will
tell
Bynum.
you.
Hang
You
on.
see those four names?
I think it's Will
Woo!
Bynum as well. My only concern about Will Bynum,
Yeah.
he's 36. Is he too old for the NBL? He's 36.
First of all, I didn't even say who it was.
I know you didn't. Liam and I are having this conversation.
That's cool. All I'm saying is, all four of those guys got serious game.
Yeah.
You can take a guy that's 27. Just because his age is younger, that means he's going to be ready if he got game. If you got game, you got game.
So this guy's still got game? Where's he been playing?
At 36, I'm ready for the NBA.
So he's 36?
I'm saying me.
No, I know, but is this guy 36?
No!
How old is he?
Bynum's 36.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Bynum's 36. He's been playing in Turkey last year.
Right.
Taylor's 33. He's been playing in Asia.
Game. Mike Taylor got game.
whoa,
These
whoa,
are
whoa,
flat
whoa,
out-
whoa, whoa.
Listen.
Liggins is 31.
Yeah.
Been playing in Greece last season. And Jeremy Pargo, all EuroLeague second team a number of years ago, has been back with Maccabi Tel Aviv.
Listen, all four of those guys are dogs and got game. Straight up. But Mike Taylor, and I'm not saying it's him. I played against Mike Taylor in Lebanon.
Yeah.
This is just a bucket. Like, these are the type of guards that would fit well. Any one of them. Flip a coin.
It's definitely
with
not
Joey
Mike
Wright.
Taylor.
No,
Because he's all excited
he's still
to have
going
heard
too
Mike
far.
Taylor's name.
It's going
I
too
just
far.
know because, like, I
That's
personally
the classic
played against
misdirect.
Mike.
The classic misdirect.
I played against Mike.
I love it. This is the thing, and you made a great point about Jen. We made this point 3 or 4 weeks ago. Adelaide fans, chill.
Word.
Chill. Joey Wright is still your head coach. Joey Wright recruits really well. He's got an exceptional eye for talent. He's super connected. And his teams are always competitive. Okay, they didn't make the playoffs this year. Oh, 1 game out. Had they made the playoffs, think they could have given Perth Wildcats a scare in the semi-finals?
They always do.
So don't stress. Yes, you've lost Nathan Sobey, you've lost Majuk Deng. There's guys coming in, there's guys going out. But a lot of it's gonna depend on that import point guard that he brings in. If he can bring in a guy at a high level, and whether they are able to keep a hold of Jacob Wiley and go from there. And Joey Wright's going to have that team competitive again.
Well, Wiley's under contract, so we're assuming that he will be
Wiley's
back.
under contract.
Wiley's.
Wiley's under contract. He's playing really well in the EuroLeague.
He is.
Things happen.
Yeah,
Things happen.
No doubt. But he's under contract, and you would assume NBA out clause only.
No.
Really?
EuroLeague
He didn't come
buyout.
from the NBA.
Euro buyout.
You know what? NBL clubs are giving imported players, too much of an out. nowadays? Why sign the guy if you're going to give all these out clauses to different
Well, it's a
clubs
buyout.
around
You
the
can't
world?
just walk.
Yeah.
You can't just walk. There's a buyout, but if he's playing so well at a really good
A team was going to buy him out in Europe.
there's a good chance that could happen.
Okay. What, just on that you DM, what social media?
Actually, people text me. They
Oh, is
have
it
my
text?
yes, they give
So
me.
wasn't
I
it
have,
DM? You just put DM in the podcast just to...
yeah, just to
sounds
switch
fair.
it up.
It does.
Yeah,
You're right. All right.
It's my iMessage. Doesn't really roll
All
off
right.
the tongue.
Hey, talking about an import that we've seen over the last 2.5 seasons, Josh Boone, championship player at Melbourne United, all NBL first team a couple of seasons back as well. Sat down, or didn't sit down with you, probably on the phone considering he's still in the US, and had a good chat to you about where he sits, his thoughts and where he goes. NBL.com.au is the best place to read the article as we look at some of Josh Boone's highlights over the last couple of years. Great article. What do you make of his feeling and where he might end up?
I think he's going to end up in the league. He's going to be back in the league this year. He's talking to a few teams. Obviously, there are a couple of the big market teams, Southeast Melbourne Phoenix and the Perth Wildcats in particular, looking for a starting import centre. New Zealand Breakers need one right now. And you look at a team like maybe Illawarra, they think maybe I will bring AJ Ogilvy off the bench. And also Cairns, they're on the screen right now, depending on what happens with Nate Jawai. He really loves it in Australia. He's got some good relationships and friendships in and around the country now that he's built up over time. He loves it in Melbourne, I will say that. He really likes this city and he likes playing with Ty Wesley. I think there's a big part of him that would like to sign with Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. And they like him. I can tell you that. They like him. But it's tricky. It's a little bit tricky for them to sign their point guard, their two other imports right now, and kind of start to finish off the construction of their roster until they know what's going on with Mitch Creek. Because if Mitch Creek doesn't come back, they've got a big hole there at the 3 spot. And so I think that if that happens, they're probably looking to rejig what they're doing and see if they can go in another direction. So I know the other thing is something I flagged in and we chatted about in that interview was Josh Boone's going to play on that all-Australian NBL team that goes and tours China. Trevor Gleeson's going to coach that team. And I think that's going to give them a good chance to sit down and talk about it. He said, hey, that was a big part of me signing on to do it. And I quite like the fit of him in Perth as well.
What I will just say, just before
You don't
we
know that
explain
team?
the quizzical look, you didn't
know
read the
about that
article?
tour?
When?
It's a tour they've done the last couple of years.
Yeah, I know they do that, but when is it?
Ooh, maybe next month. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, hang on. What do you got?
Hang on, nothing. I got
No,
nothing.
you got some
I
quizzical.
got nothing.
Okay.
I got nothing.
The interesting thing is, and Mitch Creek, understandably this time last week, was not coy about it, but wanted to remain details between Phoenix and the player, which is fine. The interesting thing about what you just raised, and we spoke about this, he may not know where his NBA status, his full contract sits, because I believe that is the out clause. It's just a full... He may not know until a day before the NBA season, and it complicates Southeast Melbourne Phoenix in
When do you
recruiting
pull the trigger?
so much. And
They're going to have to make a
we
decision. on
asked that question last week of Mitch, and he's well within his right to say that's between me and the club, and that's fine. But it is interesting because you're right. If they go down the path of losing Mitch Creek, they need a dynamic 3 guy who can do, or a 4 guy who can play both positions, who can do similar things, and will team nicely with Ty Wesley, who we believe, a lot of people, Mitch Creek included, will work nicely with. So it's going to be a complicated next couple of months for that Southeast Melbourne Phoenix team or the recruiting team or coaching, because I don't expect Mitch Creek to be announced next week to have a full contract with the Minnesota Timberwolves,
you would
which I think everyone's
imagine
like.
their timeline they're looking at is let's just wait for Summer League.
Yeah.
He's going to go to Summer League, play in Vegas with Minnesota. He's going to play minutes. They're going to put him out there and play minutes. And at the end of that, he's going to sit down with the Timberwolves and say, all right, where are we at? What are we looking at here? And then at that point, Southeast Melbourne Phoenix will read the landscape and make their move, I would think.
Look, Mitch Creek will be in the NBA. That's it.
100%?
100%.
All right, so is Josh Boone a nice fit for Southeast Melbourne Phoenix if Mitch Creek's not there?
I think I think Josh Boone is a good fit for a lot of teams in this league. Just because you're not with the team that you won a championship with, don't mean you're not going to be in the league.
True.
Stay focused, go to China, do your thing, be in shape. You're going to get a contract. That's it. Business as usual. Don't get emotionally attached to this job because it'll leave you at the blink of an eye. Stay focused. When you get the contract, sign who you're doing. Business as usual. Move on. That's it.
He had some ups and downs this year too, Josh Boone, but coinciding when he played his best basketball of the year was probably when Melbourne United played their best basketball of the year as well, late in that January, February period when they made a run for that minor premiership they fell a little short in. So You can see at his age, I guess, and a couple of niggling injuries he's had, you can see sometimes teams may be a little bit wary, but you can also see that he got himself, and he looks in shape. He's posting every day on Insta, he's in the gym, he looks in shape, that when he plays his best basketball is a huge part, integral part of a successful team.
100%, you're right. When he plays his best basketball, that team is way more successful. As we said, with the Phoenix, he'd be great there. You know, a lot of it, you know, obviously we all just said it. It depends on Mitch Creek or not, but you know, obviously he compliments Ty Wesley. He owes Ty Wesley a lot of money. Let's put it like that.
And
so they work well together.
And the other thing is, if they do have Mitch Creek, and say they sign Josh Boone, and then they've got Ty Wesley.
That's one of the best front lines in the NBL.
Yeah, and then you bring in a high-level import point guard, which is what they're looking to do. Well, okay, it's your first year in the league. Teams don't usually do well in that situation.
That team would do well.
But that's a roster that could potentially do really well. And if they're going to do really well next season, who's one team we know they're going to have to beat or come up against or do well against? The Sydney Kings. What's your big problem when you play Sydney? Andrew Bogut.
Who's the Bogut slow?
Well, here we go.
And let me say,
I'm not even going to go there. Look, let's keep
Melbourne
going.
United. I mean, Corey made a big song and dance of it. Melbourne United were 5-1 against the Kings and Andrew Bogut last season. Now, was that all to do with Josh Boone? No. Casper Ware and everyone else had a lot to do with that, the way it all played out.
He was a big part of that.
He was a big part of it. So if you're looking to contend, you got a roster to say, hey, we can win now. If it all comes together, you're going to need to go through the Kings. Okay, you're going to need to go through Perth as well. You have made that.
Yo, look.
Don't tell me you're going to backtrack here.
Oh, my God.
I'm talking about the Kings. Why are we so hype on them? What do they do with Bogut?
Come on, man.
Come on, why? What did they do? Honestly, what did they do? I'm waiting.
Made the playoffs.
Made the playoffs. But they've added Casper Ware.
What did they do?
Got Casper Ware.
What?
Kevin Lish.
Listen.
Not going to have David
Oh, my
Ware.
God. We said this last year.
So
Why are we saying all of it? What are we doing? Giving the rings to the King
No,
already?
we're not giving the ring to the Kings. We're just simply saying you're going
They
to
got
have
swept.
to go.
They got swept. Casper
gonna have
Ware
to
did
go.
not show up in the finals.
He's
and
too caught up in
Bogut
his own
got
frenzy.
swept. What are you telling me?
Yeah, but wait. So
Tell me.
So you're saying that because they didn't win a championship last
Good
year,
Lord.
Why are we
they
hyping
can't
them?
have a good year
Casper
next
Ware-
year.
Why-
They've added Casper Ware.
What did Casper Ware do in the finals this year? What did he do?
He had a really good semi-final series.
What did he do in the championship this year?
He got outplayed by
Nothing.
Bryce Cotton. Well,
he got
I wouldn't say
outplayed, right?
nothing.
He got outplayed. He got outplayed the whole series, right? Yes. What did Bogut do in the playoffs? Swept. Didn't average a double-double. Why are we hyping them?
Hang on a
Because they
second.
joining.
So you're simply saying because Casper Ware, who was outplayed in
Why
a
are we
grand
giving
final
them that
series,
much respect and they didn't do anything this past season?
Well, how about the year before? You've got to show some respect.
No,
to
I
say-
don't.
To
No, I
Casper
don't.
Ware, to Casper Ware, from
No, I
an NBL
don't.
perspective.
No, I don't.
Let me say this.
This is a what have you done for me lately game.
But
They didn't do anything for us to be
just
like.
because of what happened last year doesn't mean that's going to happen this year.
Yeah.
Now, let's
Okay.
go back, look at the last couple of
But if
titles.
you go back 2 years
hold
ago-
on. 2 years, let's look at the last couple of titles. Melbourne United won the title in 2018.
Yep.
The year before that, they didn't make the playoffs. Now, you could sit there in that offseason and say,
I wasn't
"What?"
here.
But if take this approach and you would have sat there and said, what did they do for us last year? They didn't make the playoffs.
I said the same thing
and
about
and I
Perth.
would say, hold on, they're different. They got Dean Vickham in there now. So on, they put this guy in place. It's another year with Casper Ware and Josh Boone. They are ready to go. They win the title. You said the same thing about Perth last
They
season,
got
right?
swept.
What did
They got swept. Same team.
Now we know
they got swept.
We're 12 months down
Yep.
the track, and they are the champions.
There you go.
You may well be doing the exact same thing right now with the Sydney Kings.
I'll never discount the Perth Wildcats. I'll tell you that. Never discount the Perth. Not from me. Not from me. Maybe from you two. But I am not discounting the Perth Wildcats.
We're not discounting the Perth Wildcats. We're simply saying the Kings have put
we gotta
together a pretty good
Perth-
team on roster.
We got to
on
put the
paper.
Wildcats name first. Wild Cats. And then Kings.
You're right left-handed.
Yeah. Like LeBron. LeBron right lefts and then shoots with his right.
Like LeBron.
All right. Hey, the New Zealand Breakers, of course, a disappointing year just gone.
God.
Sean Long looks to be on the way out, and this time last week, Liam Santamaria raised the fact that he's hearing some rumours around Kevin Bresswell. There's been some articles and some media reports coming out of New Zealand in the last 24 hours that the job that he's only been in for 1 year might be a little bit tedious and a hold on it. What are you hearing?
Well, much like what I said last week. I don't think his job is particularly safe right now. I don't think he has the support of the ownership group. One thing we know, he is turning up for work. You look at their Instagram, you speak to some people, he is there, he's working guys out and so on and so forth. But at this point, I am not expecting Kevin Braswell to be the head coach of that team, which is huge. And midway through a multi-year deal.
Just to be clear as well, now we have new owners, of course, in New Zealand, came in 12 or so months ago, okay? But they did sign Kevin Braswell. So sometimes in these type of realms, there's a coach who's already in place when a new ownership structure comes in. But just to be clear, because there was a little bit of talk on social media today that 100% this is the ownership that hired Kevin Braswell, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Here's what I don't understand. As you just said, the new ownership that took over the Breakers sign and hire a coach. Give him a 2+1. After the first season, you're firing him. What'd you bring him in there for? You have to understand, from his perspective, his meaning Braswell, this is a brand new regime, okay? Everything that the New Zealand Breakers have built, all of those pieces are gone. All the main pieces are gone. Lamanis gone. Hanare gone. Vickerman gone. Dylan Boucher, GM, he's not on the court anymore. Kurt Penny, the legend, is not playing anymore.
Corey Webster.
Corey Webster was a baby on that team.
Abercrombie.
Right? Abercrombie was there, right? Vicona, gone. He's starting from scratch. What do you expect? He's no different. He's in no, well, I'm not going to say he's in the same position as Mike Kelly because that team had potential to do way more than they did. However, it's his first season.
Well,
what do you want from the man?
Let me play devil's advocate just for a second. Were they the or one of the most disappointing teams last season?
They were.
Did they have a whole bunch of talent?
They did.
Did they have enough talent to make the playoffs?
On the bubble. Well,
they finished 12-16. It wasn't a good year. It wasn't a good year.
I got you.
But a lot of coaches in their first year in the league don't have a good year.
Don't have good
And
years.
when you sign a guy to a multi-year deal as a rookie coach, you
gotta expect that.
You're saying, we understand there's going to be growing pains and so on and so forth. We are behind you. Let's grow together.
What
I'm not
happened?
sure that's happening.
They must have someone in mind. They must have someone in mind, the ownership I'm talking about, if they're bringing or they're making moves or there's room. Now, no idea where the conversation sits between the ownership and Kevin Braswell. As you pointed out, if you follow the Breakers on Instagram or Twitter or any of their social media realms, which the clubs do so well this time of year to show you who's fronting up to work, and he is definitely there. So I have no idea if it's just rumour, innuendo or media talk or whatever it is. But
oh, no, it's not rumour and innuendo.
No, it must be.
It is a fact.
Okay,
It's
then they must have someone in mind. They must have someone they believe.
Who are they going to bring
come in and coach? I have no idea.
Okay, remember this conversation we had last year, right? And I was like, it's an import coach. We were like, no way. Oh. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I love how it takes you 3 or 4 minutes.
Wait a minute.
It takes you 3 or 4 minutes.
We was on our podcast earlier. There is a man that has entered back Australia. Brian Goorjian is here.
Yeah, he is.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Goorjian is the most respected coach in the history of the NBL.
Yep.
And the most winningest coach, if I'm correct.
He's back.
And he is back. Now, if that's what the play is, you know what?
I don't think that's the plan in New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
But
But I mean, woo!
He's back.
He's back. Coaches, beware. Domestic teams and national teams.
Yes.
Beware.
Because for years and years and years, every time there's been a coaching situation bubble up, the name Brian Goorjian gets thrown around.
Article gets written. It's great.
It always happens. I love it. But for years, it was like, come on. And when we spoke to him in Summer League 2 years ago, and we asked him, hey, you back? He was like, come on, man. Do you know how well I'm doing in China? I'm involved with the national team now. Well, now he's back.
What is he back for?
Listen, no one knows. Only Brian Goorjian knows. But I'll tell you this, be afraid.
Harry Froling is a player we don't know. He's going to be back at Adelaide 36ers because, of course, he's in the last week or two some pre-draft workouts. I know the Utah Jazz is one of the teams. He's got a couple more scheduled that ESPN have been reported on in the last 72 hours. Now, we know what Harry Froling said, and his management do a wonderful job of keeping everyone informed from his point of view. But as we see there, what are Utah and what are these NBA teams thinking about Harry Froling?
Oh, I like this quote. This was him in the post-workout interview. It doesn't take him It only takes him a couple of sentences to drop Nikola Jokic's name in there. I think I'm a bit similar to him, and I can eventually develop into a similar player to that man. That guy does not. lack for any confidence.
Good on him.
He's right. I mean, his game is not Nikola Jokic. But there are elements of his game that are kind of similar in that he's a big guy who's highly skilled, can step out, can read the floor. He's a high IQ player.
I mean, I say this. With world-class talent around you and a world-class staff, there's no telling what he could be. The sky's the limit for him. Once you're that big and could shoot, and then you have like the Jokic, all you need is the potential. Let that word just float around a little bit. He's a little like Jokic.
I like it.
I love it.
It's like politicians on a campaign trail, how they have like talking points and key words they need to say. You watch him. He's going to go around. He's going to drop the name Jokic. He's going to drop the P word every which way he goes. And wow, the iron is hot on Jokic because he has had a massive playoffs, and people are looking at him saying, "Oh wow, Maybe we always look for the athletes. So maybe he can't jump high enough. Maybe he can't run fast enough. So maybe we should not look over this guy." Coming out of the Utah workout, my understanding, mail is that they like his skills. Obviously, he needs to get in better shape.
That weight room.
Get in better shape. And he's late with what happened with him during the offseason. He's late to the process of getting an NBA draft workout shape. You need to be in the best shape of your life in that situation, like Nathan Jawai was back in the day, and he impressed everybody at those workouts and got drafted. He is working hard day in, day out to try and get there, but he's running out of time.
If that hurts him, was that bungled or what happened there? Look, it doesn't really matter now because he's there, but if that actually hurts him from getting drafted, then that's a bad mix-up, isn't it? A couple of months out, because there was the article that went out, or the tweets that saying it was 2020 draft, and it's like, well, hang on a second, he's eligible now, and if that ends up hurting him because he's not in the shape he probably needs to be, as you just spoke on, that'll be a pretty big bungle, because he's a guy, you're right, potential, skill-wise, he's a guy that the sky is the limit, as you touched on, and the NBA isn't an unrealistic dream.
If he doesn't get drafted, that doesn't mean he's never going to make it.
No, I'm not suggesting that at all. Yeah. But yeah, it also, as well, when you get you get drafted, and he may come back and play in Adelaide, and of course, Next Star's program is a little bit different, but we do see, and we have seen guys the last couple of years be drafted.
Next Stars, he's not
America.
He's not going to play you under Next Stars.
No, he's not. He's not. But I mean, with the imports being drafted and come back and play in the NBL as a second rounder, so but. So we can still see him in the league, but we have the draft, you have that confidence and the backing behind, and things change a little bit.
100%. I mean, at the end of the day, use it as motivation. You know what you're lacking. You know the areas you need to work on. There's a lot of upside to you. There's a lot of potential with you. There's a lot of talent. You know these things. It's never those things. It's the other things. You know what I mean? You got to look at yourself in the mirror and know, okay, look, I need to eat better. I need to eat weights. I need to take a chapter out of Mitch Creek's book. Let me value my body. You know what? Train to look good naked. If that's what you want. Get your body right. You can do everything else, and then guess what? It changes your whole position.
Is this advice for us, or is it advice for Foley?
Listen.
Advice for both.
It applies.
It applies.
All right.
Straight up.
Now, just quickly before we do get out of here, a couple of things we need to
Listen,
just
on site, let's just say you're on call at any moment to have a shoot on the beach. How you going to train? How you going to eat?
I'm going to have a
Look,
burger.
we got to go to San Tropez tomorrow, guys. We got a bikini shoot. 20 G's a day. If your mindset is like that, you make sure every day your intake is different and your body's different. You're in the weight room.
Can you text that to me when you're done?
Put that in the calendar.
I'm just going to cancel that Uber Eats.
All right. Just quickly, a couple of things. We just got a little bit of housekeeping, of course, here at NBL Overtime. Firstly, I'm seeing tweets get around right now when there is prospective players going to teams or teams change. And people are now tweeting asking are you in the management game?
Who's asking this?
I don't know. I seen a couple of tweets during the course of the week where there's players being linked to players that's being asked if you're involved. Are you
I'm being linked to what?
Are you consulting with any teams or any players?
Dodgy conversation is happening right here.
I'm asking you.
I'm not a dodgy dealer.
No, I'm not. But are you consulting any teams?
No, I am not.
No PR or anything?
Who's asking this?
I don't know who it was. I'm going to find the tweet. I forgot to get it.
That's conflict of interest. I can't do that.
Good.
That's grounds for termination. My job is too good, baby. No way we doing that.
Last time we high-fived, it turned into a gif and then we got grief. Secondly...
Yes.
Something else?
Yeah. I got something that I know is 100% true.
You've been grilled.
100% true, this one. NBA Finals are just around the corner.
Got you.
All right. Is there an opportunity for all the basketball-loving fans at home to pay a couple of dollars And then
Come
you
hang out
roll
with me.
around with a case of beer and you
Nah,
sit
not
there
a
and watch
case
the
of
game.
beer. That's not going to happen.
It's
But
it-
come roll with me.
It said in the terms and conditions you'll bring your favourite case of beer.
I don't even drink beer.
No, not you. The person who hires you.
Nah.
Okay, just exactly how does that work and how do people get involved with that want that to happen?
I collab with Fan Plus.
Fan Plus.
And just go to fanplus.com.au.
Is it at
What's that?
the person's house or is that a bar?
No, it'll be at we'll do it at a bar.
Okay.
I think it's better to do it at a bar.
Okay. Do we have to pay Liam and
Yeah,
I
you gotta
for
pay.
free?
Can
You gotta
Kirby
pay.
pay up? Can you-
Kirby definitely got to cut a check. Kirby got to cut a check. Now you guys can come easy.
Oh, we come for free?
Yeah, for sure.
Are you sure?
Well,
It
they're
sounds
not paying
like
for us.
Hey,
It'd be a
actually,
disappointment.
it sounds like the time. Remember he gave that shout out for the Kobe Bryant team. He's like,
No, I got
we
you guys
we
this
still get
time.
tickets. We got tickets.
I got
and then
you
the
this
day
time.
off, I'm taking someone
I
else.
got you this time.
All right, you got
You
it?
know, I got
All
you this time.
Fanplus.com.au. Get involved. All right.
Get involved.
NBL.com.au to check out all Liam Santa Maria's great work, all the late breaking news, of course, on our socials at NBL, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right, boys, next week. We'll do it again.
Week.
Next week.
Definitive answer.
Oh,
next
yeah,
week
yeah,
and
yeah. I
so
got
on.
you next week. I got you next week.
Do you think there'll be an official announcement?
I think I'll have more information concrete that I can say something next week. Either way.
Okay.
Either way.
NBL20, hashtag NBL20, hashtag see incredible. Woo! See ya.
We out of here. Oh, brick.
You better bring more than that.